The original Season 3, Episode 21, Give 'em Hell, Kid. I think this was a great freaking episode leading up to the finale, which premieres tonight, so I'm very excited to, get to the premiere later tonight. But this was a really good episode. We got to see Davina come back again for like a split second, a little bit, which I was surprised by because I thought they were going to play around with the idea where it's like, oh, Davina's spirit is still somewhat latched to, the living world. So they have, they kind of put that idea out there with Cole. And then they have all the stuff with Marcel where it's like his heart gets ripped out, which I had to tell you, I was very surprised by that scene. And they did a great job. That was a great way to do the little twist because I just assumed like he was playing, everybody through the whole episode. He had the serum, but he hadn't taken it yet. And I was like, holy crap. They, Elijah saw, what was meant to happen. And we saw what was meant to happen. And that's a very different thing compared to, oh, here's some blood splattering up against the painting and stuff. Or here's some, flickers of this and that. We saw a lot of very, very detailed stuff, which they filmed. And considering how the episode ultimately played out, Elijah didn't change anything. So that could happen. I mean, there's no white oak. So I forgot. I want to say it was Klaus who got like stabbed through the heart, from behind. I don't see that really having an effect on him because it was like, it couldn't really be white oak unless there was that little bit, whatever it was that Cole had before, which, like I said, I was like, I thought they got rid of all the white oak, but he was like, I had a little bit left. So unless they get that, then I can understand it. And I would assume it was Elijah that was bit by Marcel. So it's crazy. It should be very insane. They actually gave us some real clues this time compared to, the blood splattering on the paintings and this and that. So I don't know what to expect. We have one episode left as well. Like, Marcel's going to be moving at a rapid pace if he's like stabbing people in the back, biting this person in the neck, all this other crazy stuff. He's going to have a pretty action-filled finale if that's what he's going to be doing in just one episode. But the way it played out, I thought was amazingly done. Like, I'm sure some people did guess that he'd actually tricked them and taken the serum, but because they did the thing with Josh, I just assumed he wasn't lying. It's like, why would he, play around with that idea? But it's just smart. It was just insurance. It's like, in case something happens with Josh, he won't have to lie to anybody or anything like that. He really won't think I took the serum. So it was just a smart play on Marcel's part. And of course Vincent knew because he's the one who brought it to him. But the way they did all that stuff on the bridge, and I thought that was really cool. And very different as well, because it was just them on a bridge. I was like, just visually, this is so different for the originals, because they never have stuff like that. They're always in the quarter. But it was like really bright outside, and it was just like sunlight, and just it was just them. So I was like, this is actually visually just a very different tone for the show. Like, they're in the woods a lot, but it just seemed different because it was like it was very open, even though technically on both ends were the woods. It was just different because it's like they're right in the middle. The sun's like just beaming down on both of them. So it's like when they show Klaus, he has that weird like sun aura lining around him and stuff. I was like, this is very different just visually for the show. So I like that scene. It was just very different from the normal tone of the rest of the series. And it's just them talking. There wasn't a lot of music really until Elijah showed up because it got really tense. But when they were just talking, it was pretty much silent. Like, it was just them talking. And I was like, this is actually, there are a lot of different things that I felt were very different from most of the stuff we've had from the show. So I really loved that scene. And then, when Klaus like actually rips out Marcel's heart, I was kind of blown away by that. And that's when I thought I was like, they killed off Marcel. That completely wipes out what was meant to be the future. So now it's going to change. It's going to be someone else. And if they brought back Davina, it would have made sense that it would have been her. And I mentioned before for the last episode, we don't really know where Cole stands. And it's seemingly he stands more with Vincent and Marcel, even though they do make the point that in the end, push come to shove, Cole will choose his family over his rage against them killing off Davina. But it's most likely true. I'll side with them because we've seen the show. That is most likely true, but who knows? I would love to see that. If there was a nice twist in that where it was like Cole actually chose to go against the family because it was like he's always kind of felt like he was left out anyway, because they're always like, oh, you're the brash young kid, so they're always mad at him anyway. Maybe he, at some point you'd have enough of that too. Even if you live forever, at some point you'd have to have enough of that. So who knows? Who knows how that will play out? But I love the bridge stuff. Like everything Marcel was saying was like, you say I'm a part of the family and this and that, and Klaus says it. It was like, you taking that would make you like the greatest enemy against my family. So he's like, exactly, your family. And just everything that was happening, and he was getting really mad at him. It's like, I'm not your friend, I'm not your family. I'm like, from now on, I'm only going to be your worst enemy. And then they just rip his heart out, and he drops in the water. And it was just a crazy moment. It blew my mind that they did it. That I was like, I cannot believe they're killing. I was like, they're killing everybody. Like I want to say past 2 weeks, and I've said this in like 2 reviews this week that I've done. Everybody is dying. Like I feel like every show that I've watched, somebody has died. In like the past 2 months, like every single series I watched, somebody's died. I feel like, and it's just been insane. I was like, they're killing somebody else off, and fortunately that didn't happen because I was seriously like, man, they're just killing every main character they have right now. I don't know where they're going with this, but he ends up surviving. Vincent actually enlists the help of the cop, who kind of makes a big return in this episode. So I'm guessing he's gonna actually kind of be a big part of the show from now on, because he's come back. Vincent flat out gives him all the information. Like, look, this is what the world is really like. This is the quarter. Witches, werewolves, vampires. It's madness right now. So if you want to help, then we need to do this. Vincent actually destroys the ancestral connection. He takes the device in. Davina actually tells him to take off. She kind of sends him back, and then eventually Cole gets sent back as well. And she sets off the device. So unfortunately, Davina is, this officially makes it where Davina is cut off forever. And so are all the ancestors. They blow up like all the graves and everything in the cemeteries. Or at least, the main tombs and stuff within each cemetery. And it should be interesting. Because I thought for sure, for a split second, when they had the scene with Marcel when he was standing on the bridge, when that first happened, I thought that was like the ancestors connecting to Marcel, where it was like they chose to protect him because they realized what his plan was, which of course he'd already even taken the serum. So it was like they decided to join with Marcel. That's what I initially thought. Maybe that's what that was supposed to be, with the lights flickering and stuff like that. Although obviously that didn't matter, because the other side of this story was Vincent getting rid of the ancestors. So it was like, well, he could be protected on the bridge at least, which is what I thought was going to happen. And it was like, no, he died. And then they go through everything. They had an amazing scene. Honestly, the scene with Elijah and Haley when he broke down, I love that scene because we never see Elijah like breaking down, and he felt like he made a mistake. It was like that was the moment. It was way more than even with Davina. It was like, this is the first person that was sired by the family that they truly considered family. Like they had Lucian, Aurora, and Tristan, and really they abandoned them. It was like, hey, you take up our names, get out so we can live. But Marcel was very different. He was truly a part. He was a part of the family. He was the first vampire they were truly sired that actually became one of the Mikaelsons. And he thought he killed him, and he was like broken down. Like, I killed someone. It was almost like it really was for him, like him killing family, but it was just the tiniest bit detached from being actual family. He's like, he couldn't do it. He couldn't let him live. And I just love that scene. I was like, that was a great scene for him, like breaking down. Klaus was kind of messed up as well, and he has a scene with Haley where she's like, all the crappy stuff you've done, you kind of have to forgive him for this. And he was like, you sound like Cammy. So they had some good moments. Elijah and Haley finally kiss in this episode, which, we'll see how long that lasts. I doubt they'll kill either of them off, but we'll see what happens. But it was just a great way to, and lead into the finale. And it's like, we get the scene with Klaus at Marcel's place, and then Josh and Vincent come back. And Josh, I'm like, man, that's really sad, like for Josh, because he lost everybody. And then Vincent was like, nope, he actually took the serum. He's told you that because he wanted you to believe that, just like he wanted them to believe it. And he's totally fine. And I was thinking that too, because even when they had the scene where he was about to, or when Klaus thought he was about to take it for the first time, the serum, I was like, well, if he had like a little bit, they never said how much he had to take. Like, would he actually heal from that? And we find out because he already took it in general, he completely healed from it. Like, even though he ripped his heart out, it did not matter. Which I didn't know it was a thing. For the originals, I had no idea that even if their hearts got ripped out, they would heal. So I thought that was interesting. It probably, it took all day because they killed him. It was like broad daylight, and he didn't wake up until like nighttime in the water. So it makes sense that it would take a long time for your heart to finally heal. Like they ripped through him, but love the way they ended it. You had like the bright red eyes and stuff, which looked really sweet. Which I feel like they didn't really show on Lucian too much. They may have done that, kind of the same thing when he first turned. But I didn't realize that until like they did the spell where where Freya was ripping the power from him and his eyes were really red. I was like, man, I wish they would do that more because that actually looked really cool to me. But it was just a great way to end it. And so now Marcel is, this super vampire. He has the crazy like mega venom that could kill anybody, including an original. So who knows? I mean, it might not kill Klaus. I think Klaus is the only person that it wouldn't kill because he technically is, he's a hybrid. So even though the venom is stronger, he wouldn't be affected because he's still a werewolf, half werewolf. So it would hurt him a lot, I'm sure. Um, it would probably put him in as much pain as Elijah is from a normal werewolf, by where it won't kill him, but it just really messes with his head a lot. So it would probably do the same thing for Klaus because he obviously won't die from it, but Elijah can. And I guess Haley wouldn't either because she was initially a werewolf before she was even a hybrid, so probably wouldn't affect her in that way either. But who knows what's gonna happen? I mean, they might kill off somebody else. I just don't really know how it's gonna play out. They aren't gonna kill off all the originals. I don't know. Freya might be in a real risky position because she doesn't have super speed, and Marcel has Vincent. If he wanted to, he could counter her magic, and Marcel could run straight up to her. I would assume they never really. I don't think they've ever really had a scene like that where someone was like putting a spell on a vampire and then another witch came in to cancel it. They probably had a bunch of those scenes and I can't remember it, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm definitely looking forward to this finale. It should be very exciting. This is a great episode leading up to the finale. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And of course, the finale's coming up, so I gotta ask you guys, what the heck is gonna happen with Marcel now that he has the power of an original and the venom of 7 packs in one, in one, so he can bite any original. Well, he can bite 2 of them. Who knows if Cole is gonna be against him or not? Which, like I said, I would assume he will be, because push comes to shove, they do choose actual, family over their sire family, stuff like that. So who knows? We will have to just see what in the world happens. But I would love to know your predictions for the upcoming finale. And of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.